So today is a big day for the Los Angeles Chargers because veterans reported at training camp. Tomorrow, the first practice will actually be held, which is why in this video I'm going to preview to you guys what to be looking forward to. So positional battle storylines, things of that nature. The first one is going to be the battle at corner. Christian Fulton went to the Chiefs, which is a massive deal because he played the second most snaps of all corners for the Chargers last season. So now there's a huge gap to fill, not to mention Joey Bosa ends up getting released for financial reasons and he goes to the Bills. So now all of a sudden you've got two guys that you've got to be able to work around. But especially at corner, the Chargers did bring back a couple of the players that were with the team last season, like Leonard and Jazir Taylor, for example. But they also drafted Trick Bridges in the 7th round. They brought in Benjamin St-Juste and Dante Jackson. But realistically, I think the corners that are going to be starting are going to, it's no surprise, it's going to be the 5th round picks, of course, last season, talking about Tarheeb Still and, of course, Cam Hart. Now, the thing about those guys is, well, first of all, they both can play on the outside, which is big. Hart is strictly an outside corner, but still can play outside and in the nickel. And James, he's probably going to play about half the time, maybe a little bit more. I think he was at 47% last season in the nickel. So he's going to play about half the time there, which means that you've got to work around that. The Chargers have very good safeties. In terms of outside corner, that's the thing, is who really knows? It's an open battle. Nobody is guaranteed to start on the outside. So that's going to be the biggest camp battle to watch. And of course, in OTAs, you're not allowed to attack the ball and to hit and things like that. So we're going to find out who in training camp is deserving of that spot. And especially in this division, because you're taking on Patrick Mahomes twice a year and now Bo Nix, who was in the Rookie of the Year conversation, not to mention Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, like Tua and those weapons. It's the division and the conference is full of very good quarterbacks that can make plays that have weapons around them. So outside corner is going to be a huge thing to watch, and that's why I listed it number 1 on this. Moving forward to the second one, that is going to be Tuli Tuipulotu. I got attacked by a lot of Charger fans throughout the season when I said that I think there's a lot better football in him. I understand he was getting sacks, and that's what Chargers fans pointed to. They said, hey, look, he's got more than double the sacks as he had last season. But you guys have to realize that a lot of those, of course, it didn't really impact the game. Like, I get a sack as a sack. But in terms of his, how do I want to phrase this, by the way? I don't have any notes. So in terms of his impact on the game itself, that's exactly what I was talking about. Is I think Tuli has the potential to be an absolute stud on the outside across from Khalil Mack, who is 34 at this point. But can he do it every single down? That's what I'm going to be looking forward to. I think the ability's there, the work ethic certainly is there. And he did lead all Charger edge rushers in snaps last season, guys. He played 732. So it's not like he's going to get more of an increase in snaps. They are certainly going to lower his amount of special teams. He led all, actually, he was the second most snaps on special teams for a Charger last season, about 339. So that has to go down. It will go down, which is why the Chargers, of course, drafted Kyle Kennard in the 4th round. They're going to put him on special teams, and they're going to translate Tuipulotu into a full-time edge rusher. And you look at what he did last season. He had 8.5 sacks. He had 4.5 sacks as a rookie. It's misleading, though, of course. Late down opportunities, chase down tackles, cleanup finishes, like things like that. Altogether, it was only 10 sacks, and only 2 went for losses of more than 3 yards. I need to see more, and I know I will see more. It's the same thing with Diane Henley. Is he had a big time breakout season last year. Junior Colson, who I'm about to get into, I think he's going to have a breakout season. I think Tuipulotu is going to have a breakout season. It's not even about just being a biased Charger fan and page. You watch these guys all off season. You know the potential they have. You know the ability. There's a reason why they were brought in. And it's time for them to hit that. So I'm certainly looking forward to Tuli Tuipulotu having a breakout season. You might have thought last season he did. I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot better football ahead of him. But in terms of the linebacker position, I'll be kind of quick on this. I don't need to talk about Dan Henley. We all know he's an absolute stud. Of course, where's the green dot? He had a breakout season, but who plays next to him? Troy Dye, Denzel Perryman, Junior Colson? Dye was solid, of course, when he ended up getting a role because Perryman got injured. And the thing with Perryman is he played a lot of good football, but 11 snaps over the final seven regular season games. And then, of course, he got knocked out of the Texans game in the playoffs with a shoulder injury. So can he stay healthy is the thing. And then Dye, can he just continue to be consistent? Because he was actually pretty solid. I wouldn't say he was good, but he was solid when he was out there. And then Junior Colson, probably the favorite to have one of the starting linebacker spots just because of his ability and certainly his familiarity with the scheme, playing at Michigan, of course, with Jim Harbaugh and with Jesse Minter. So it should be a lot of fun, man. It should be exciting. And then I think the two other things you want to look at, one of them is, in my opinion, pretty stupid, but I'm just going off of what I read. So we'll save that one for the end. But the second to last one is going to be Mekhi Becton. So one of the biggest, and we've been talking about this all summer, but one of the biggest holes that the Chargers had to fix was the interior of the offensive line. And I don't think necessarily moving Zion Johnson to center and Bradley Bosman to left guard is going to change much. Maybe a little bit, but probably it's not going to be like game changing or anything like that. But when you add in Mekhi Becton, that certainly is. Because when you think about who was playing Becton's position, which of course is right guard last season, and first of all, if you're not a Charger fan, you're going to have absolutely no idea. If you are a Charger fan, you're going to be pretty much sighing when I say this. Like you go and you pull up the depth chart and you go to guard, you see the man is Trey Pipkins the third. Well, he's technically listed on as a right tackle, but he was playing guard. So you go from Trey Pipkins to, like, with all due respect, to Mekhi Becton. That's a big time addition. We could be talking about the Chargers win the Super Bowl. That the biggest thing they did all offseason was bringing in Mekhi Becton, because you look at the Eagles and what he did for them. Can he do the same thing for the Chargers? I'm not expecting, obviously, Amari and Hampton to rush for Saquon Barkley type of numbers, but the interior of the O-line was just flat out terrible against the Texans and it allowed a lot of pressure. We talk about Justin Herbert throwing, and we're going to get into Herbert in a second, but we talk about Herbert throwing 4 picks. Well, he was under pressure all game, and guys dropped the ball. That was the thing as well. Multiple drops in that game. And last but not least is Justin Herbert. So what it said was that, how does he respond? And Herbert did have the worst game of his career. Throws 4 interceptions, just didn't bring it. But we also have to understand that if you're under pressure all game and your guys are dropping the ball, how much of a chance do you really have? Now, Herbert on tape, which I did watch the game multiple times and save the film and all things like that. Now, Herbert did miss some throws, but I think a lot of it's just psychological, to the point where you think you're getting hit and it just gets in your head. Your quarterback should feel protected and should feel as easy as possible. So that's the thing. So the Chargers go out there and they get, of course, Mekhi Becton, but they also get Najee Harris. They also get Amarian Hampton. They also get Keandre Lambert-Smith. They also get Trey Harris. They also get Tyler Conklin. They also get Ronda Gadsden. So all these new additions to the offense put Justin Herbert in the best possible situation to succeed. And the good thing is that NFL is in about 50 days from now. So we're going to see the Chargers take on the Chiefs. So they have an opportunity week 1 to be able to go out there and to make a statement and to let the NFL know that, hey, look, this is our division to lose. The Chiefs dynasty is all but over. We're in charge now. If they don't, the Broncos will. That's the thing. Like the Chargers, it almost feels like week 1 is a must-win game. Like, how do you come back from losing to the Chiefs to start off the season in week 1? I mean, obviously, like, the Chargers can lose in week 1 and still get the division and still be a AFC contender, but it feels like you just got to get this game, man, because time and time again the Chargers come up short against the Chiefs, and in order to be the champions, you have to beat the champions, at least for the division. I know the Eagles won the Super Bowl, but it's just time for the Chargers to get this done, and I think they will. But I've also been saying that the past couple of years, but the reason why I'm still going to continue to say it is because of Jim Harbaugh. Look at Philip Rivers. Why didn't Philip Rivers win a Super Bowl? The management wasn't exactly the greatest. Now the Chargers have great management. It just feels like there's no more excuses, man. The Chargers need to get it done this season, and they need to win this division.